Okay. So working with my higher self, and she's giving me dropping me some codes. Working with my father, my creator, working with my other half, working with my brothers and sisters, working with the animals, the earth, working with the things around me, and going with the flow. Like if I could be, if once I learn how to control, once you learn how to control your emotions like a river, where there's some spotty parts, but you still go over it, where there's some, a dam in a way, but you still keep going against it. That's why I love the tambourine players. They kept the spirit awake, because that clashing of the bell almost, it calls the mother to the table. It calls her to sit amongst her children and listen to them. Listen to them cry, listen to their tears. In the Pentecostal churches, when there was women on their knees screaming in tongues, and I would black out. I remember blacking out. Like my eyes would roll to the back of my head and they would just be crying and just saying it all out in different languages. Oh, it made my brain just spurt. And I remember when I was laying on the floor one time in this church, and they covered me up. I exited, stage left. I exited my body and I laid hands on these women. They had their veils over, signifying their veils, but they could see. They had their veils on. And I would go to their womb and I would recode it like a drum, you know. So I would be like, okay, whenever this drum is beat this way, then I know that they're in trouble. Then I know that they need me. Then I know I have to be there. Right. The narrative that has been placed in front of us is very, very difficult for me to continue to play the act and be, because the stressful, my role in what I've been doing in society and whatnot, although it may not appear that I'm doing anything, I'm just sitting in a house, right? I'm just sitting down, but that could be stressful from I can't align with my soul. We can't align with our souls because the narrative is being controlled. So let's go back to a dream. This is last night's dream. I'm only going to give y'all snippets. I'm not going to give y'all the whole flavor decks. I was laying in the bed when I was lifted up out of my physical form because I was stressed out, just a little bit like, something ain't right. Like, ugh, give me a second. And I was lifted out of my body and I had a seat cross legged in front of myself. And then myself turned into multiple women. I'm talking a gang of women, hella women. And I'm all passing my energy and my like pain and my like sorrows to these women, and they're turning the shit into gold, you know. They're processing the information at such a fast capacity that I feel like weights are being lifted off of me, like energy is being taken negative energy is being taken and is being turned into weapons. Because to fight these dragons and shit, you need a golden sword. The golden sword is the word of God. When God speaks, when God's energy down here speaks, when he speaks gold language. That's why he has to have so many feminine, so many women around his court, because they turn it into weaponry. They turn his word into gold, right? So after I meet with the women, I go and I knock on the door of my father, and it's a just a little brown door, and it has it's lights on the outside where you see like the light coming through the door. And I do a two-tier knock. I said, and then, and I go, Baba. I said, Baba, do you have 5 minutes for me? And he goes, Yeah, come on. And by the way, my soul has started to show a little bit. And, I just go and cuddle up and I lay down and I say, at this moment in time, I'm I'm weary of the future, you know. And then he just said, Don't even say anything, and he rubs my hair and he goes, Shh, 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 just lay, just lay. And I go to sleep right next to him, and then I go into a different dream. And I go into a different dream and I'm flying on an eagle's wings. I'm a little black bird flying on an eagle's wings. Flying on an eagle's wings. And he's showing me past the visions that I saw, past the visions that I handed myself. So this means he taller than me. It means he tall. And he showed me the vegetations and the fruits and the harvest of the hard labor of finding connectivity, taking down the evil forces, taking down the dragon. And he's showing me all of the bountiful supply. And he's with his eye, which damn near could see just like me, but 2020. He see past the bullshit. He see past the bullshit. That's why it's good to have the sweet and the savory. That's why it's good to have the innocent eye, who's the sweetheart gullibleness, and you have the dang catcher of the rye. You have the I'm gonna beat your ass eye. That's the eye of Ra. And it's beautiful to see the combination of the two. When I'm going into focus and when he going into focus, it's an intricate rite of passage, and it's a dance that's so f- feverishly woven and connected and sewn into an armor of God. Because when you have Ira, Ira, I Horus, when you have these are just the words that are given to me. But when you have the connectivity to establish a new eyesight and say, hey, yeah, your eye is getting a little backed up because you ain't speaking your truth because you have a little bit of physical world problems. So let me take some of your vision and I decode it for you. Let me pass it to the sun. Let me pass it to the moon. We gonna work this out. And then you start to realize how connected you are to exterior and unearthly realms. You are still connected through whatever you worrying about. I'm here in my brain, passing myself the ball to the wall, playing dodgeball with the wall, you know, and trying to figure it out myself. And God go, why you never pass the ball to me? It's like, why you always think that you got the know all, where all, be all? Why you ain't pass the ball to me? And I always tell him, I said, you have a lot to worry about. You got the whole world in your hand. I'm just trying to figure out how to not get this system back in order. Because yesterday I hopped off of Amazon. As soon as Amazon hopped off, th- something happened with them. About to hop off Target. I'm about to hop off all these good systems so I can buy it. So I could buy them in the spirit. So whenever I walk in, I feel greeted and happy, you know, not upholding this system, but creating a different one, right? So let me let me rewind. So I'm with them, and I said, Papa, lit anna, ista, kaka, nina to, toma anna, nana etiri et, jeff it is only when I get to a situation where I know I need you, then I want to bug you. If I know I need you and I can't figure it out, then I'll go. I can't do nothing without the masculine form of myself. I can't do nothing in the whole world without the masculines, the feminines, and united. I can do nothing by myself. I've never wanted to be alone in this little corner, but I realized that I had to develop the lone wolf understanding that you could bring her to me.
She's okay.
Okay. Had to develop the lone wolf scenario to deal with my own ego, you know, and not be so gullible, but don't be so egotistical to find that beautiful balance. That is beauty. So he's showing me, all of these, tribes, that are reforming. There's tribes out here and tribes out here, and he's showing me, a brand new world, a brand new this, and I'm like, how great, how great is our God? How great. We are just the raindrops from the accumulative understanding of the Creator. We are just the raindrops, so we are God. We are the downpour and the onslaught of God. So let's go back to controlling the narrative, right? So let's talk about the news stations, right? Y'all is next. There's been no reports on a lot of this stuff, and y'all closing behind the door, knowing damn well y'all is not the authority to judge our own people. Y'all is not the authority to judge your own people. Y'all have fucked up the whole system. Y'all copied the system and fucked the system and used it for the benefit of yourself. So y'all know they already came up with a fucking conclusion to the Ghislaine Maxwell case. They already came up with a conclusion. But I calmly state, with the sword of God, your shit will not prosper. Your narrative will not prosper. Your narratives will not prosper. Your narratives will not prosper. I ask that the collective create a new narrative for this situation, because I'm not going to allow our children to get hurt no more. The womb has been turned off of a lot of women, and they're like, Elon Musk is all talking about, oh, we need more kids. We need more kids. Because they know the newborn blood. They know what the newborn blood do and the adrenochrome from the newborns. There are too many missing kids in this motherfucking world for the goddess of love to continue to provide kids. There's too many missing kids. Go adopt somebody if you really about that life. Matter of fact, you don't deserve a child. You don't deserve it then. Going to these doctors and getting shot up and shit like that. I understand infertility is a big thing. But if you know that you don't need to go to no motherfucking doctor, you can go to the motherfucking earth and plant a couple trees. You and your spirit are disconnected to such an extent that we don't need no more of your kids. We don't need no more of your babies. You don't need to be producing no more. Because when you produce in this matrix, you continue it. Of course, he's talking about the end of civilization. Yes, it's the end of y'all motherfucking civilization. No more kids is gonna be born. No more souls are gonna be born into these old tribes. None. This old system. And to the women who want to risk the journey to go, I hope and pray you got the goddess on your side because she demands a sacrifice. To drain the whole sea, get something shiny. This is hungry work. I love that song, singing it. Ooh, take me to church. Nah, y'all niggas don't even get it. Dig into the root of the story. Dig a little deeper. Y'all wanted to take it at face value. And what we're saying, what is dig deeper? There's no masters or kings when the ritual begins. No masters nor kings when the ritual begins. So when I look at the narrative and what is about to be pushed off, I know I know that a lot. Let me go back to the dream. So then we arrive at this um, cave. We arrive at a cave, but when you press it, behind it is a beautiful golden statue of this Mary goddess, right? Golden statue. And he told me, he goes, behind their scenes was you. The reason that you were imprinted into this golden character was because the heart must weigh physically as much as your heart weighs in order to keep you grounded into the environment. So if you look at this shit, if you look at it, delete it. Ruth Booth, don't come on my fucking chat with your bullshit ass motherfucking fake ass talk. Dumbass. Stay the fuck off my shit. So the spirit heart has to have a weight. It has to be gold to weigh the two and balance it out. And I go, I thought we aren't supposed to worship false idols and false gods. And then he said to me, he says, in what lifetime have you ever been false? And that hit me with a fucking sword to the throat. I was like, oh, in what lifetime have you ever been false? And I told him, I said, "Eh, my understanding." And he goes, throw away your books. This is why I didn't want you studying under these parcels. This is why I didn't want you studying under their jurisdiction, because their knowledge is like a rotten apple. Everything it touches turns rotten. Everything. down to the last Moorish rite, down to the Scottish rite, down to the red, blue, black. Y'all got to understand the lay of the land. And so he said, certain individuals within each category was given the real book. And he goes, this is how I can tell who's a crook. So you can't do the words like that, Bob. I see we do the word like that, Pop. I can't. I can't do it. And then he told me, he said, knock on this gold statue. He said, knock on it. So I went from my bird self back up to myself. I was in this long, beautiful white gown and had these gold clips up here, very Athena-esque and beautiful. And I knocked on the golden statue and it started to talk. And I said, how are you? And it repeated the same thing I said. How are you? And then I said, what's the square root of 32? And I wanted her to say, what's the square root of 32? But she said, what's the square root of 32? And so then my father get up and he knocks on it and he says, how are you, my dear? And then I go, I'm fine. And the gold statue said, I'm fine. The statue said, I'm fine. And then so my eyes grew big and then I started to realize the false clouds that are placed on people not understanding that they are children of God. That he knew that his children's heart would be so heavy that he encapsulated their physical form in gold so it would weigh them down. And I say, how great is our God controlling the narrative behind the scenes? How great is he? So, he proceeds to tell me, and talk to me and saying, so what you really have to sit back and understand is when they cannot contain your spirit, they seek to contain your soul. When they can't contain your spirit and they can't contain your soul, they try to contain your flesh. And he goes, I am very protective over my flesh and my blood. He said, if anyone puts their hands on you, there will be a flood the same day. So that gave me so much comfort. It gave me so much comfort that I can now realize I'm not I'm not alone. I'm not alone. You know, I may be alone in my corner, but I'm not alone. And I go back to the giant form of me, and she's sleeping on the desk. After I leave that situation with my creator or with my God, and he goes over and he goes, "Look at you." And I have this lantern sitting right above me. A lantern sitting right above me. And my head is in a book, and I'm sleeping, and I'm drooling in the book. And he goes, "Look at you." He said, "Look at you." He goes, "Your head has been in the clouds because your head has been in books of God. He said, you study and you study and you type and you send and you study and you study and you type and you send. And he said, you don't study to fill your head up with more knowledge. You send yourself birds to drop new information into the heads, but you make it so easy for some of us to download. He said, so you have to judge. He said, so you have to judge. When you have the bird's eye view, you can see what's going on. And I said, only God can judge. Like, who am I to come? Who am I to sit and be above nobody? And he goes, you are me. You are me. You are me. You are me. You are an army. You are me. So the narrative is very finicky when it is lacking a key. So it's always finna do something. Oh, I'm finna do this. I'm finna. If you hear somebody say, I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that. Without the key, you just got the finna. You need a key to get up here to finna do something. One cannot contain the body without the soul. So y'all just about to finna do a bunch of shit, huh? Y'all finicky. So let me go back to that image of me reading a book. He then starts this uh, voice where he goes, hey, and then I go, and I'm awake. And I look around and there's no one there, no one there. And I grab my lantern and who's there? Someone there. And God turned on the light. He turned on the lights and I saw myself, I saw him, and I was like, finally, I couldn't figure out that code. I couldn't figure out how to turn on the lights. I've been sitting in the darkness for so long. And he go, he go, oh, you were so close. He said, go to the last page of this book. And then it said right there, how to turn on the lights. How to turn on the lights. It was the last book and the last spell in a revelation. It was a revelation in my head because I was like, aha, aha, I figured it out. And it's just very um comforting. Very comforting to be in this situation where I could see, I could see. Because I'm like, I thought God created the earth, or God created light, and in the beginning, there was light, right? And he turned on the light, and there was nothing, when he had to build everything. But what it was is everything had been destroyed. So, yeah, he had to rebuild it when he turned the lights on because now people could see the real version and the real war that was happening. you know? So uh, I just want to just thank everybody for their smarts, for their wit and their intelligence and things like that, because it's very important uh, for today's youth and people to flex their knowledge a little bit. Just flex your shit a little bit, because light and dark, once you pass the ball enough times, you will understand that we are just, you know, uh, Venus and Serena. Venus and Serena, we just hitting the ball back and forth. You know what I mean? But this time we hitting two balls at once. Just and that's how you creating a wheel. You rocking it, you know. And I have my sisters. I'm Serena. No, I want to be Serena. No, I'm very impressed by our feminines, you know, for just processing all of that information so quickly. It's like y'all should be the teleoperators. Y'all should be the ones in control of the news stations. Y'all should be in charge of what's going on in the higher frame. Like y'all is the processors, the processing center. Like if God is the judgment, then the black women are the ones that go out and do the cop shit. That's why I'm wearing black and white. Woo woo. The goof troop called me, or call the boys. He didn't call me goof troop. I wanted to be in a goof troop with Zonnie Marcel White, young warrior. That's what Marcel means, young warrior, young warrior. Um, and then this baby just keeps on coming. Like he's like, how do I explain him? Like he's a channeling force that comes in through these big old orbs like this, and he's always orbing in and out of situations, like blue, like swirly orbs. He keep coming in and out like that. And one time last night, I'm sitting in the tub trying to calm my nerves down and um, put some chamomile, lavender in the bath, and all that kind of stuff. And I hear this like clicking noise on the other side of the veil, like it's a clicking noise. And I'm like, who is interrupting my, you know, alone time? Nobody should be in 3333. Nobody should be in this part of the veil. This is a dark veil. And open it, and he's sitting there. And he's playing with those little toys, like this big little GI Joe looking like me. And he's playing with them, and he's like still a baby, but he's like projected himself to be like 15 different ages. And I go, hey, why aren't you with, your where you supposed to be? He goes, oh, when you're in water, I can visit you because you're in consciousness, so I'm conscious. And I go, okay. I say, have you checked in with your dad today? You know, and one of his aides come up to me and he goes, yeah, here's a letter. And I said, thank you. And I didn't read it yet. I put it in my head. And then I go, um, so how are you here? Besides the consciousness, but how did you get here? And he goes, oh, I have my own little private portal to come to you whenever I want it. I was like, but you're not even born yet, yo. And he goes, oh, technically I have been. I'm born here, 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 in all points in time. I don't, he said, um, I no longer conform to your idea of your identity of time. I no longer conform to your identity of time. I'm very proud. And he goes, can you pass me some more toys? And I will have to buy him some for Christmas. A spirit. And he goes, can you pass me some more toys? And I said, of course. I'll pass you some more toys. And he goes, thanks, Ma. And then he left. And I put the veil back and I wanted to cry, but I was like, don't tell my lower self yet. I'm in this tizzy of information, like, I'm gonna go to jail and this and that. I'm overthinking it, moving particles. And I'm like, how am I gonna figure this out? And I'm just like, I'm not gonna play on their field anymore. And as soon as I got a chance to sit back up and look at my head and look around, I'm like, they have no authority over me. They have no authority. So let me sit back and relax and see what happens next on this show. Magic. New deck. Ether. You want ether? Fire. Water. Control. All right, here you go. All right, new deck. New deck. New deck. New deck. You know. And I also had to call in with Chango energy. I put red on my thing yesterday because it's very important that we understand that the lightning bearers of Shango, the lightning pallbearers. I was looking at my daddy, his obituary. How it's red and blood red and all that kind of stuff. And I was like looking at it, and he goes active. It said active active pallbearers, and then it says inactive pallbearers. What does that mean? It's not just that somebody gonna hold the casket up. What does it mean? Looked at his thing, I was just like, you know, active pallbearers, inactive pallbearers. Okay. The people who held up his casket get what? What amount of Shango energy? The inactive pallbearers who didn't show up, what amount of Shango energy they get? Hmm. So it's very important that we sit back and understand how our obituaries are very important. I finally found, the pictures and put it up in my room. And now my dad can come in and out. He comes in and out to visit like he never left, you know. And I was like, are you going to be mad at me because of my words I said? And he goes, nah, I've never felt freer. And that was beautiful. Anyway, I have been on a trajectory of truth and um, sitting up here in this arena and figuring out how best to work against the narrative and change it quickly, you know. So just know that only God can judge. And he never said which one is going to be in his place. He never said which one going to be the judge. He just said only God can judge. God got so many children. He got a lot of kids. Which one going to judge? And it's always the purest hearts Who could judge? Anyway, I sit um, and just recalibrate a lot of my emotional baggage and emotional stuff, and I give it back to the system. And all of that energy that the system gave to me, I use that energy to collapse the full government of the United States for trying to fuck with me. I use all of that energy to collapse the stock markets. I use all of that energy to collapse the food, to collapse everything, to collapse all the energy, the negative energy that they gave me. I was on a call, and something had me by my feet. The big old giant, not dragon had me by my feet. My dad goes, "Fight back! Like, why don't you just fight back?" And so I was like, "You know what? You're right." Grabbed the sword, cut off the dragon's head, and threw it. I was like, I never thought of that. Grabbed the knife inside the belly, cut the belly, and the belly open, and had all this stuff just falling out. And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Fight back. Get up off of that thing and shake it, feel better." You know. So, all in all, change the narrative by fighting back against the system. So let's take this Christmas uh, season to sit it out. Buy from your friends and your family, but you know, buy from the little market shops on Etsy and stuff like that. But just try to work against the big old corporations. You know, they're no longer. It's no longer corporate America. It's no longer an incorporation. This is a United Nations. United Nations. Shout out past the nation in Oakland, California. We are a united front. We've been here since the beginning. We're gonna be here in the end. OAK. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Have a good night. Bye.